connect to cloud server. Thank you, darling. Okay, so the presentation, how we're going to work today, it's kind of like, there'll be moments where I will stop and ask for your feedback on what we are discussing. And during the time that I'm like presenting, you know, then you could please keep your microphones off. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. So let's get started. I'm kind of excited. I mean, like I have done this presentation for a couple of times, but it was kind of like pieces of it. And now I'm sort of like, I'm going to publicly show the whole project. So excited, but a bit nervous. Anyways, okay, so MineAcademy has the objective of creating meaningful language learning experience for students from 9 to 12 years old, while nurturing competence through game-based learning. And Jamie's coming in. So that's the goal of the project. That's the mission, vision. It's what I'm trying to accomplish with this project, okay? As everyone probably here know, or most of you know, I've been EVO Minecraft co-moderator since 2016. So that was like my first avatar, my first skin. And he is who I am now, right? As a Minecraft educator. This is the logo for my Minecraft MineAcademy English Club project. In 2019, I applied for become a certified mentor with Microsoft. So I went through all the certification, like first thing you need to do is become part of the community. And then you go through the training, which is free to every teacher as well. And then you get the I certified. And then once you go through this, get to these 2 badges, then you can apply to become a mentor. Another mentor needs to recommend you as well to become a mentor. So in 2019, they accepted me and I'm part of the mentor community in Teams, which we get like lots of support and help also from Microsoft, like clearing our doubts, anything that we need. Although it's Minecraft in Education Edition mainly, they also have been supporting the use of other versions, especially with the COVID, you know, event. So last year we had some nice training, and they were really interested, like how we have been using the commercial versions to connect kids, especially schools that don't have access to the educational version. MineAcademy project started because of these 2 people here. One is Sassy. She is Getting a Gamer mother. She is also had been a friend of mine for years. We've been Google for Education groups, you know, like collaborating. And she was the one actually who contacted me and asked me to you know, give classes to her daughter, because her daughter was like, they were in Argentina at the time. They didn't have access to, you know, like she couldn't play with her friends anymore. So I helped her out in connecting in multiplayer world. And then once the girl knew that I was an English teacher and she wasn't happy with the classes in Zoom that she was having, so she asked her mom to actually hire me to give her classes in Minecraft, and that's how the project ended up born. And one of the reasons that Sis and I, we talked a lot, and once her mom started to understand a little bit more about Minecraft, because her mother also only thing she knew was my daughter loves Minecraft. She wants to play Minecraft all the time. And by the way, she was 9 at the time, and now she's 10 years old. So she didn't understand really anything about Minecraft other than her daughter's love for it. But as soon as we start talking, and then she encouraged me to developing, design a language program for other kids. Then she understood that this is really a powerful environment, very immersive. And once I start like researching more about immersive environment, it make all, like a lot of sense, because it's artificially, yes, created, but it really a great space for make believe and engaging kids, definitely. And just to hear, to be sure if we are talking about the same thing, like in language learning, we talk about a lot about immersion, like, oh, you need to go to another country to immerse in the language, right? To be able to use the language fully. It's the same in Minecraft. So immersion here is really referring to the mental state of being completely absorbed or engaged with an activity. And the Minecraft fosters that really, really well. And like language is the medium, right, to communicate with other players. So language is there all the time. There are 4 types of immersion, which really struck me like, struck me as something that made me reflect on Minecraft as learning tool, like the psychological, aspect of it. When you start performing a task, it's much more powerful, and we learn more than just read the book. You need to live, experience it. The sensory also, it feels real. So like it's an immersion when not just psychologically living it, but it feels real to you. The virtual identities and the possibility of living a story inside that space, right? And also we play actively in, while you are in Minecraft, so it's actionable as well. Okay, but in order to actually be able to create uh, lessons inside Minecraft, I had to rethink the space and the resource. So this was the first thing that when I started comparing the physical classroom, what I was like used to with Minecraft, I just realized the space was different. The resources were different, but the core principles, goals were still there. So in the past, we could like bring hands-on projects in language learning classes with posters. I used a lot of tag boards, in my classes. Then later we could bring devices, tablets, computers, so they could create their projects inside, also using this digital medium. And then later we came up with the maker, that is the maker movement, and bringing, recycled materials and other things to the class. Minecraft is actually, for me, it's all of these, So rethinking this space and resources really essential for us to move on into Minecraft and use it as a learning environment. And how do I connect Minecraft with ELT in this case? I mean, like visually, meaningfully, and provides a lot of repetition, right? I mean, you can connect meaning to imaging instantly when you are in the game, or when you're talking about the game, or you're researching, learning about the game. And also it creates like meaningful experiences because it becomes real actions and real feelings for for us, for the students as well, and provides like a lot of repetition. Language, like it says here, it's incorporated naturally. So Minecraft really rocks for me. Sorry, I can't. I can't really, stop talking how wonderful it is. I know for some teachers, it's daunting. It was for me as well. In 2015, it was really like something I couldn't see myself doing. And slowly through the years, the more I learned like to play and became more acquainted um, with the game and what it offers, like Jenny and I presented the last time, we talked about the importance of play for teachers, mastering what's in the game. It's so important. And once, I went through this whole process, eventually I became more confident in using Minecraft. And now I'm sort of like, able to design and think of other ways, go beyond the substitution level of the use of technology, but really go to open to new possibilities. Okay, just I'm giving you an overview of the project at first, and then I will take your look at the chat and see what you guys have been talking, and then I can pause a little bit, and then we can exchange. I have a lot of things to share, the full project, and I would like also at the end to give you a short tour inside the MineAcademy. So we might not have a lot of time, to exchange a lot of things, but I hope at least sometime we can do it. But keep sharing in the chat, okay? Whatever comes to your mind, that'll be really nice. For language, my linguistic pedagogical model is task-based learning, okay? Because task-based learning, it's about using language as an instrument, as a media to accomplish a task. And tasks in Minecraft is really, really real, like I had said before, meaningful, challenging, and mastering the language in game for you to fully take advantage in playing. So as I have said before, it's a language-rich environment. And here are some ways that we can actually use the language, inside Minecraft. I mean, this is not just for education, but this is what normally happens inside Minecraft, even in a public server for entertainment purpose. We use language to teach each other normally. So all of these here examples is actually about the game itself and the affordances, we get from the game itself. So you can see that's a lot to do with what we do in class as well, right? In class, in a physical class, we socialize, we inform students of things, we communicate to each other, they inform us of things as well happening, in their lives, or if they are going to skip class or if they can't come, whatever. We use language to accomplish a task and also to teach, and not just us teaching them, but them teaching each other. So as you can see, everything that we have in Minecraft, we actually also have in the normal classroom, okay? And this is one of the focus on my research, is to actually compare the physical class, what happens in normal our class, and bring it closer to Minecraft, comparing the two environments and actually showing that they are quite similar, in a lot of aspects. Before I go over the design overview of my project, I am going to take a look at the chat and see what you guys been up to. Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, she wants to have classes in Minecraft. Yeah, but that doesn't mean actually, Jane, that getting a gamer doesn't appreciate other activities. It's just because she prefers to learn in Minecraft to use the language. It becomes more meaningful for her. Which would you prefer if given? Yeah, if given the choice, definitely. That's right. Minecraft, of course, definitely. I would too. Okay. Yes, it's being recorded. Thank you. Okay, great. Welcome, the latecomers. Anyone would like to grab the microphone and add anything to what I have said so far? Anyone? No one? Any questions so far?
I don't know if Tilly has a microphone, but she said, "Do you structure your
I have. If you want me to
go
go.
ahead, Tilly. Go ahead.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead,
interested
please.
in. No, I'm on the same page, Rose, and I remember when I first came into Minecraft, you were one of my helpers, so I appreciate it a few years later. But I'm just wondering, how do you manage the social side of the interactions? Because I can imagine, going into Minecraft, it doesn't sort of seem such a kind of a social environment as like some other virtual worlds that they might be familiar with might seem a little bit more easy to imagine as kind of a party or a where you can sit around a fire or chat to each other. You don't sit down in a group. So I don't know how do you manage the social side of Minecraft for the students.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Basically, as a space, right? That it's all about being social, unless you go to single player, obviously, and you have no one to interact. But as far as it becomes like, it's pretty much same for me, at least, personally, when I am in my classroom, because I have worked with language learning from the perspective of building a community of learners. So my classroom has, for the past 10 years, basically about creating the means, like a safe space to become socially involved in everything that it's in the classroom. So I kind of use the same strategies to structure, to set some rules for, the social environment for Minecraft, as I did in class. I also like negotiating with the students, those not just like discussing the rules and the benefits, and also listening to them, something that I'm used to do, um, and also like setting expectations from each other, like what they expect to gain from this experience. So in Minecraft, I kind of like use the same strategies that I developed through the years. Um, I try also to show students that this is a gaming environment, but it's also a learning environment. So it's kind of like, discussing this over with them. Are you a student in a physical class with you and then you are all in Minecraft together? Is it no, it's online. It's all online. We actually, the kids that I have worked with, I haven't even met them face to face yet. Okay, hi Jane, welcome. I'm not sure if I have answered your question like the way, but I am going to talk a little bit more about this later in the presentation. Could you just let me know if your answer was
Yeah, no,
your
that's
question
fine.
was answered or not?
Yeah, no, that gives me a better idea. Thanks, Rose. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so as the design, initially my project was designed, okay, to have asynchronous and synchronous moments, sessions. For the asynchronous, it would be self-learning, okay, with story-based resources, gamified quizzes, And then this was for the input, right? For input activities. And then in game, it would be more like tasks and challenges that would, and then here would be really about me facilitating the activities, mediating, kind of like supervising in a good way, like if anything happened that wasn't appropriated, then we could use like, like in assembly, sit by the fire and talk over about it, just like I used to do in my classrooms, I learned it long ago, especially with children and teenagers, that lecturing them is such a waste of time. It's really, they are not going to hear you. So the best thing to do is to ask them to reflect on the issue and then come up with suggestions, recommendations, how to improve something, why this is cool, why this is not cool. And then, set like a kind of community rule for that. So for me, it has been always like that in my classroom. So I would bring the same if issues would rise. Then also, like another thing that I want in the project is learners creation and peer feedback. So whatever they create, that can be shared with the other players, and then they could give like, each other feedback. And this is really powerful because it's about self-assessment, peer assessment, and of course I give feedback also for whatever they do in Minecraft, right? And the end goal is to the core of it's a learning community. So here are some of the activities. At first, it's just important also for me to mention now that this project started phase 1. It lasted for 5 months, where actually I worked with a couple of kids in project-based learning, and without the aim to learn English, but to develop his soft skills and improve also his planning, designing skills in Minecraft, okay? And the second student, part of this first phase of the project, was actually, she was 0, like really beginner in her linguistic skills was really, really low. She would know only like name of some animals, some colors, that kind of like level. And then after, I worked with her to develop her linguistic skills as well as the project-based learning, together. So I developed in the beginning the asynchronous activities, but then as I had just like individual sessions, I could actually use that time more in-game to understand like how to manage, a series of questions, to answer a series of questions I had at the time. The second phase of the project is actually what I showed you. And like, I'm going to have to go through this whole design here, the story-based resources, the quizzes, and also linking these 3 steps together to be able to actually launch phase 2 with 2 groups of 60 students each. So I'm going to do the call for participation in the project very soon. But once I get, all the lessons I need, because it's going to be like 15 weeks of experience that needs to be developed. But I did in the beginning run, like pilot lessons with Gatinha Gamer, and she gave me feedback on the activities, and she also helped me deciding what kind of activities would be cool for in-game and outside of the game. Now, Gatinha's game is like able to interact in English in game. She acquired the vocabulary, the basic vocabulary for daily activities, interaction in game. and I run everything with her in English now. I don't need to use Portuguese ever, because she really can ask things in English, and sometimes she kind of falls back to saying something in Portuguese, and if I know that she knows how to say that, I would just like nudge her, like, oh really, how do you say that in English? And then she would like repeat it. And our sessions are in Discord, so we use voice channel, but sometimes we also we decide to use in-game chat, written chat, so we can focus on writing in-game as well. So here's one of the piloting lessons that I developed. It's the abandoned village story. I'm just going to show you, just a little bit of it, so you have an idea what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to show you all of it yet. I'm not sure if you can hear the.
You can't hear.
Can't?
No.
Oh, okay. It's because I didn't habilitate, right? When I did the sharing. No problem. It's later on I can share in the community, these links, so you guys can take a look at the full version of it. And thanks, Dakota, for pointing out in the typo. I always get, the Portuguese with double S, and I usually do it. But thank you. I'll fix it later. So yeah, I created the story base. Emmanuel voice over it for me. Okay. And the idea here was really to create, I create this in PowerPoint, like with screenshots, then PowerPoint, adding the bubbles and pointing out some vocabulary, like highlighting. And the getting us feedback was like, really loved it. So I think it was just, she said she watched it many times. And, as you can see here, it's not like the language, I try to keep it as natural as possible. I didn't really like, oh, because she's a total beginner. No, if she wants to learn, she can also like search for the words and do her learning by herself as well. I encourage them to use Google Translator, dictionaries, and I teach them how to do it. Not for productive tasks, but for comprehension tasks. Let me see here. How do you add bubbles talks in your videos? Yeah, I do everything in PowerPoint. And then after, you can use a video editor, program. But at the time I went for what I knew, which was like very familiar to me. So I use it PowerPoint, and with the animations, and transitions and everything. And after that, you can save as a video. So PowerPoint does it automatically for you. It turns into a video. You just need to add the audio, animation, and everything that you need. And one of the things she did in game was like find herself an abandoned village and, clean it, repair, decorate. So I also created, I recorded this short video, very short, like I am actually doing it, I'm trying to reinforce the language here for her. And she also liked this, and what she said she watched many times to be able to do one herself while she was actually completing the task of renovating her own, village. I focus on vocabulary, on Kahoot, like, there is the Kahoot challenge. So we worked on composable items in game, and in the Abandoned Village, it talks also about the composable items. So there was a Kahoot for her to review vocabulary. I use Google Forms. I tried Google Forms for skills, like listening skill, comprehension skills, and writing, reinforced vocabulary again. And lately, I turned the lessons I had in Google Form to quizzes, which is also much more nice. It's like nicer than Google Forms for kids. Yeah, some items are difficult. True. On Monday, I need to prepare on Monday, actually, because Gatinha Gamer now, she has, there is another student joining her, roughly same level, pre-intermediate level, like her now. And they are going to have sessions now together. And one of the things we're going to do is a quiz, a live quiz, before we actually go into Minecraft to check, to test each other's vocabulary. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be for Monday. And at the end, she created a video, and also on a document, she created these, screenshots and put some text. So at the end, she created some of her own work with video, and inside show us quizzes and Kahoot. If we have time, sure, I will. But if not, I can share, I can prepare a document with all these material and then share in the community so everyone can actually do it. But let's see if we have time for it then. Okay, I also, probably most of you recognize this. This is the taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy. And I divide, the activities that I do, that I prepare, into linguistic and life skills. The first level of like some activities, right, in game or outside of the game, it's about recognizing, recalling new vocabulary, grammar, etc. And then we go to also as an objective of comprehending, right, what people, the interaction through writing and what they hear, what they read in and outside the game as well, it can be done. And then the third goal would be like to apply or use this new vocabulary and grammar effectively, right, for communication in game. And then as life skills that I think is so important for kids to develop is their ability to analyze, create, and evaluate, right? So in Minecraft, we have, for example, mechanisms that they can learn to create or command blocks, like solutions, things that they can learn to create. And they will need to, in order to learn, understand the parts. And then what's the relationship between these items? How can I piece them together to create something? So there is a lot of normally players that, when they see something that have been created, like automatic farm, for example, they are kind of like, how do they do this? Like, oh, okay. They use redstone, they use this, they use that. Okay, but how do these parts actually relate to each other? And, so I can actually understand how this process is done, and I can create my own things. In the creation part is all about solutions. I remember when I first started, like my first ever time playing Minecraft, we kept dying because we didn't know we could set like to inventory. It was me, my husband, and my son. And then we figured out like, oh, we could put these in the chest, right? And if we kill, we don't lose our valuable things. So, but it's even more than just like survival surviving in the game, but creating solutions for any kind of thing through building, coding, and engineering, really. And the last life skill that I think like it's paramount for us to bring it into class, either physical classes or into Minecraft, and Minecraft also, you know, provides that, is give them the possibility to evaluate, right, their own performance. So I like discussing with the students, with them, the goals and also criteria on how do we know that we are achieving this, right? So they are aware of it and being able to self-learn as well as being able to, you know, evaluate others. Okay. So before we go into managing learners in game, anyone would like to add something or any thoughts before we move to the last part? Grab the microphone, all right? Type in chat.
Hi, it's Tilly. Just to say, I really like that use of Bloom's taxonomy, starting with linguistic and moving around to real life skills. I think, you know, that's another way of looking at language learning with Bloom's, and I think that's something very useful. I might borrow.
No problem. Feel free to borrow that without any problem. Thanks for your comment. Anybody else, or shall I move on? Okay, so I'm going to move on now, and you're going to be participating in this one, right? I think it has also a little bit to do with Tilly actually asked earlier. So that is, I prepared a Mentimeter. You can go to menti.com and use the code 4759941. And I would like to know, like, what challenge do you think we could face? Like, what sort of, you know, problems with the management, managing students in Minecraft we could run into when using it with children and teens. So this is kind of like brainstorming together some of the challenges we might face. What do you guys think? I'm waiting for your responses, so I'll give you a little bit of time to think. I'll be quiet for now. Okay. I believe I made it available so you can add multiple thoughts. So the more you bring for our discussion, the better. Okay. Okay, keep coming if you have anything else to add. So let me see, competition in a bad way. Okay, whoops. Let me see. I keep scrolling up and down here. Ah, I always use the bubble. What's happening today? They don't know. Probably because you guys are still like adding and it's still moving. Okay. So a lot of a lot of interesting challenges that will help us really think about the challenges, how to prevent, or how to design in a way that we prevent it, right, from these things to happen, or at least in not if preventing is not possible, at least how can we deal with it in a way that it's positive, right, and not really negative. Getting into fights, it's kind of like the same in an environment. Kids can actually, not get along, and that comes to classroom management. For me, it's like how we organize them to work together, right? Sometimes the personality of one student doesn't really match another one, and until they learn how to work with everyone, I would actually choose carefully how to group them. That would be like grouping strategies and work a little bit on that, front. Getting distracted, in game instead of doing, I mean, like, even if students, you provide a task or something for students to do, which has the learning goal of, linguistic goal and those life skill goals, whatever, is still there should be a room for negotiation. Okay, like, it's much easier for you to talk to kids and allow them a little bit of like they go on their own way, like doing something they like. So it's go like, let them come up with the process so they own that project. You're going to see very soon how I manage that. Oh, I'm not able, actually, can't really lock our own stuff in Minecraft. Yeah, well, yes, that's another thing. Griffin, right? Someone mentioned about like taking things, bullying, things like that. For example, if they want to kill each other in game, you can turn off PvP, so that will never happen, for instance. But of course, they can be trapped and killed in other means, like, for example, falling into lava, that can happen, right? So I would suggest also like turning TNT off. That's what I do. I turn TNT fire off. So because in the realm, you don't have plugins like you have when you on your own server, and I'm using Bedrock, so it's very limited to what I can do. But setting rules, discussing these rules, like I had said before, like allow them room to reflect on their behavior, what they are trying to achieve, why they are here, if they really want to be here or not. It's something like in school they are forced, in regular school they have to go first grade, second grade, but this is like an extra class, so they can decide if they want to continue or not. That should be enough room for that. I'm gonna thank you guys for adding these, and I'll write a post, like covering all the challenges you guys have talked about. But otherwise, we're not gonna have enough time to really go through the next steps. And I want to give you guys a tour inside MineAcademy. I hope it's going to, I'm going to be able to do it. Maybe we need like 10-15 minutes if you guys don't mind, but if you need to leave, you know, when midday comes, I mean, like 10 minutes finish the session for you, that's fine. It will be a recording, you can catch up later. Powerful weapons advanced, I'm gonna save the chat as well, and I'll cover this later, maybe in another recording. I can record the video, go over each one, and you guys can watch later. So, okay, I always go, you know, I mean, like even in my physical classroom, I always go for community. You know, I want the people to be there, to have a shared interest and create strong relationships. So for that, I mean, like it's a community of learning. So the goal there is the shared interest would be learning and helping each other learn, right? So I shared with you guys also an article which I find fascinating. And some ideas I have from MineAcademy is, for example, creating a space for students to hang out together, you know, outside the learning sessions. Events that I can cater for different types of players, you know, different types of challenges and events for the whole community, not just like for the group that has a sessions on Monday and Wednesday, but actually everyone could participate. However, with rounds, we are kind of like limited because we can only have 10 players at the time. So I'm working now on getting my own Bedrock server, so I can actually move it out of the realm. But I want to see what plugins I can have and things like that, you know, to give me more possibilities. So my goal is always to create a positive environment where goals can be negotiated, supported, and celebrated. Here, it's a picture actually Jane sent me, that's why you can see the Chinese over there. And this is one way I give actually feedback, you know, like, and this was one of the feedbacks I gave her on the video that she posts about renovating her own village. And what else here? And that is a reward that I gave her as well, you know, but like praising and celebrating with her what she had achieved. Here is my pedagogical cycle that I use to managing in-game projects, okay? So I designed the challenge based on mapping out, obviously. I need to map out what I want them to achieve, want them to create. Also, I consider their interests and needs. Then I need to map out the structure, the language, right? The vocabulary. Also considering like, because like sometimes we want to teach everything, you know, because they don't have that language to communicate, but we need to take consideration that a lot of things are going to like go over and over in Minecraft, so you don't really need to bother to teach that, because it will, you know, be developed eventually. Then I propose, I invite, you know, to participate in the project, in the challenge, and then during this time it's a negotiation period, like where are you going to build, how you intend to build it, do you have any doubts, you know, that kind of thing. And maybe the idea changes of that project, you know, a little bit, and that's fine. I'm totally flexible with that with the kids. Then I always also focus on mediation and support, so I'll be there mediating, supporting them all the way through by observing, guiding, encouraging, okay? Without taking out their authorship, like their agency, you know, to make decisions. Then also it's the assessment, like once we negotiate, like what are we trying to achieve, what are you going to develop with this project, etc. There is like a criteria, right? Parameters, and that it's negotiated, shared with them, and I hear them. And then after that, we need to, once that is done, it's the assessment, like what was good about it, what could be improved. They can also peer evaluate each other, and the self-evaluation, like I had mentioned before in the Bloom's taxonomy model adaptation that I've developed. And lastly, it's all about reflecting on learning. They have an area where it's called, it's an area for reflection. So they built the area. It's like we put the frames and the books, they write the reflection, put inside the frame. I'm going to show you if I have time to do a tour. And yeah, and setting new goals, right? Like, okay, you can do this, but what else would you like to learn? Not just about the game. For example, Gatinha Games project was curing zombies for, to get villagers. So we went to one of the projects was like creating she calls it this self-center, safe house, safe house. For me, it was like health center or something, but she decided to call it she said, for me, it's a safe house for villagers. Okay, no problem. It's your project, you own it, and I really like to do play the role in game of the facilitator, and crafting experiences that can give them crafting opportunities to give them to live their experiences. And yeah, and then we go for, if you guys have a bit of time, we can go to actually a tour in MineAcademy. And let me say already thank you to everyone here for participating so far, listening to my project, like what I have, gone through this last 6-7 months. And this project is really, I'm so passionate about it. And then I'm going to jump now into the server. If you can't stay with us, no problem. You can watch the recording later, okay? Anybody has any questions so far? Anything that you would like to share to wrap up the last part of it? Before you go,
I'll jump in. Maha. Olive tree.
Okay,
can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes,
Okay.
we can. Thank you, Maha.
Do you, well, first a question before I add any comment. Do you do any role playing? I mean, do you give them any stories to role play, or do you use your role playing in general?
Well, in phase 1 of the project with individual student, the role play comes really naturally. Okay, so I haven't designed anything for that purpose, but like you mentioned, it's a really huge possibility, right? It could be, for example, one project like working with reading a story outside of the game, and then as a project, the group can come in and role play, record. We could use Machinima, for example, as another tool to create it, but I haven't done yet. Okay. It's probably going to be for phase 2, because I do need to develop like the projects, like designing the projects.
Okay, so yes, thank you for your response. My question was because my experience with small kids, especially small, I mean from around 9 to 13. I mean, those are the ones that I was sure that of their age at least, on several public servers, American, Italian. They seem to, I mean, at that age, they still have a lot of imagination about stories, and they create their own stories. And I've had experience with those kids actually creating, scripting, creating the builds that they needed, whether it was a school or a fantasy story with elemental gods and goddesses and so on, and creating the whole script and directing they recruited us as players, and for example, you're going to be the head teacher in the school, or you're going to be the goddess of water, and they created the skins, everything. I mean, it was amazing watching and participating in something like that.
Yeah, that could be a project in, you know, in itself. And like in MineAcademy, I intend to have not just the program for language learning, but also a lot of space for them to actually, for example, there is a room that I'm going to build that is about like a bulletin board where you can request, you know, others to help you with the project. You know, like publish. Yes, we had this in 2016. Linda created one like this, you know, and that's where came my inspiration actually, because we actually used to do this, like saying, I have this project, anyone up to help me out of this? And I used to answer Linda's call all the time because I would learn like lots of stuff with her in game. Yeah, so also, if you read that article that I shared, how game developers create social interaction, you're going to see that one of the suggestions they give is to use that kind of possibility, you know, space for players to actually offer service or trade something, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of good ideas that we have. It's just because like to develop like a full program, it takes really a lot of time, you know, and I mean, to piece the things together, to then you can look at how kids are really learning effectively. I mean, like to evaluate the project later. So yeah, and that's my phase 2 actually. I was very worried during the, like in phase 1 with Getting a Gamer, was to really understand how her mind worked towards learning, what kind of expectations she had. I mean, like what types of activities she would do inside the game, outside the game, you know, and that helped me a lot to design it, the phase 2, because now it gives me an idea what motivates her to do what, right? But yeah, lots of space is cool. I'm going to jump into MineAcademy. Oh, let me share sound. Maybe we don't even need it, but okay, it's entering again. I'm just going to show you guys a few things related to the experience I had with Getting a Gamer, like really showcasing. There are other things that happen inside the server, but I'm going to focus on these. So it's really to give you an idea of what she produced in game and what tools we used and that kind of thing. Oh, and it's taking a little bit of time. Okay, it's loading, so it should be fine. It's not going to be like, Zoom is not really good to stream. That's why one of the things I use Discord, because it's much better for streaming. Okay, so you might not be able to see, you know, it's not going to load probably in your screen very smoothly. Okay, so this is the lab where everyone comes in first, and I usually give them a tour on the first day in the server. Today I need to welcome Queen Mateini. She's a new player. She's going to do sessions with Getting Gamer, like I mentioned. And today she bought the game yesterday, the Bedrock version, and she's going to have a tour like you guys are having right now. So here I just have, like, you know, I have the NPC. Oh, very important to mention in Bedrock, actually, we do have the possibility of NPCs like we have in the educational version. And it's really cool. Like you can add texts, a command block to do something. For example, I'm going to get food here and display a message as a title: before leaving this communication center. Okay, and I have here also, I don't know how lag this is for you guys. So let me just take off the floating controls here. It's, oops, disable, hide floating. Okay. So, and rules, right? I give them one book, they can go through it, I explain, I discuss. Of course, if the student is a total beginner, then I would explain this in English. And also take the opportunity of use these moments as a reading practice, for example, right? Be nice to others, keep personal info safe. Also, so I think someone in the chat mentioned about like digital, you know, like if we need to teach them some digital citizenship, yeah, definitely. Okay, and also safety, privacy, how to deal with things. Yeah, for example, if you have any problem in the server, feel free to send me a message, right, in Discord or email me, and that kind of thing. So here would be the rules. Okay, and then there is nothing yet. That's where I intend to build the bulletin board with some other things. Here's the communication center. Did something also that Linda, you know, has implemented in EVO in 2016, and I always use her idea. But also the article I shared, it talks about this actually. It talks about in-game communication, synchronously and synchronously, how important that is to actually create, you know, like you know, like the community really. Here, for example, that was that Paul, for instance. He, I forget, I should not use this. He sent an invitation to Emmanuel and my son and Getting a Gamer to play his game, the mini game, because they had like projects. Mini game, they were creating, one of the projects was design games, design mini game in Minecraft. I keep forgetting that I shouldn't click on the escape key. So once they have this tour, they know what to look for, where. There is the teleportation center. You know, again here, text for them to practice the reading. They can get something. Okay, so ready to go, have fun. And in here in the teleportation center, all the projects they created, you know, during live sessions that became like a product, it's actually here to showcase, to teleport. So I worked with Getting a Gamer here in like lots of different projects inside here, because she's like the mayor of the city. And last week, she while I was streaming, yeah, hi Jane, while I was streaming, she gave a tour of the whole server totally in English to the new girl that's going to join her tomorrow. So I was so like proud of her, because, you know, she's very shy child, but in Minecraft she excels. So this is her village, you know, she owns it, she sets the rule for her village, what can happen here, what can happen. I've worked with, for example, one lesson game that was about can and can't, setting rules, you know, imperative, like do that or don't do that, that kind of thing. And this is my house, unfinished. She always tell me, teacher, you haven't finished your house. She's not happy about that. I never get the time to come and do it. And let me take you now to a space where she built for reflection, actually. Let me see, 30, no, yeah, 30, 36, 30. Oof, I think I messed the numbers here. 6486. This is the memory hall, something I was telling you earlier, I mentioned. No, this is actually not the memory hall, but the memory hall is nearby. This is one of the activities that I did in-game, very, very instructional, right? It was like a dictation. We worked like she had to use the signs and write. We were working spelling. This was also very much in the beginning of the project. And the correction, that was like a correction board, you know, like what she got wrong. And then we became also a dictionary, right? A visual dictionary. And I issued XPs for trying, for, you know, doing it almost correctly and that kind of thing. And then after that, she would calculate the number of XPs she got. And then actually, I would issue the XP for her. So this is an example of a very instructional, a teacher-led activity that it's possible to do. And nothing wrong in doing that. She actually likes it, you know, she doesn't have any problem. Maybe in the phase 2 project, I will discover like some student who doesn't, but they will have plenty of opportunities to learning it in other ways. This is her memory hall. And you can see here her reflection, like the Explorer story. I'm not going to take it from the board because I'm in creative, but it's really about, and during the writing, I helped her writing it. Like she would ask me, like, how do I write these? How do I say these? She would actually be streaming to me. I use the streaming Discord, so I could actually like give her some tips and correcting on the fly. Rebuild here some, but this was like my adventure. I think this one of the adventures we had. But the memory hall, she built it. I explained to her what the memory hall was about, like keeping her reflections, her learning reflections. She spent some time building it in her own time. And then after that, we came back, and after, you know, like few sessions, she can come and write her reflections. One last thing that I would like to show you guys is Janie. I don't know, I think I can't teleport to you, Janie, right now. And I think you can't teleport yourself, right? But you have to think this, you can't, right? Okay, I need to go back to the lobby because I want to show you guys one last thing. And this is the mini game she created in Minecraft as an example. There you are. Follow me. You can come here, but let me change you just a minute. It's because you are as a guest, not as operator. Now go ahead, Jane. You can fly around and just be careful not to kill my NPCs. My students, when they are in creative mode, they have done it. I had to do all over again. They always write messages under the board. You know, these are like, they tell me what to create here, and we set up these with command blocks for teleportation. She's very skilled in Minecraft, and I did the whole mediation interaction of this was in English. Oops, did you actually die? Yeah, you fell because you are not in creative, I think. So this is something that she created. The mini game level 1, I'm going to change my game mode to see, because I'm not good in parkour, so I can't really do it. But this whole thing, and she learned it all by herself outside of the game. I didn't teach her, like, I just give them like challenges, right? For example, I ask questions like, okay, how are they going to change, for example, set a teleport point? And then she would like think of the possibilities, what she knows about Minecraft. And if she doesn't know, then she would research about it. This is the drop. Then she also created, oops, let me see if I can get out of here. Then she also created the inside, that is the spawn of her game, the lobby. That is another one, that is the quiz. Down there, it's like a series of questions and you need to choose the one option or another. And the last thing she created that I think was really awesome and took her a little bit more of learning and me figuring things out with her, it was this one. Let me see here. She wanted to create this game, mini game, where they would need to find the button. So get the error ball, and they need to shoot, but as you can see, like a little bit from far, and there is only one place, one hole. So she creates this challenge for the other kids to play. And once they finish, they come here, and she didn't know how to add titles on the screen, so I taught her this, and also like releasing, thinking of the design process, really, you know, that's so important when they are designing something. And I have a lot of other things to show, but you know, I don't want to keep you guys for so much longer. And I think this is it. It's the end of the presentation. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
Brilliant.
you. Okay, time for anybody wants to comment something, go ahead. Let me see the chat meanwhile. Yeah, a lot of things you guys added in the chat as well, right? That's it needs to be taken into account. Okay.
I really like the how you set up the the video story in the beginning, and then taking the kids to for a Kahoot vocabulary like review or learning, and then in-game tasks, and then a review afterwards and reflection. So I really like that, how you designed it.
Thank you. That's nice to have this feedback, because I mean, like, you know, I always go from the input to the output as following. Input should be about lower order thinking, you know, remember the Bloom taxonomy again. It's the linguistic part. And nowadays with the digital tools, they can do it on their own. If you, of course, if you present it in a way that is motivating for them. They usually love quizzes, you know, even as a homework task. I used to use it a lot in regular school and in the English course as well. Kahoot also is a challenging, and that is the leaderboard where they can see like who, you know, got more points, and also the possibility of they can do it over and over again, which is really nice. And quizzes now has the lessons as well as Kahoot does, right? But quizzes has allows us to create video and then quiz together. So you get a segment of the video, choose a segment, and then you can quiz them right after about that segment of the video. So it helps, you know, like with the comprehension activities you can create for reading. I did a lot last year with my students in regular school, and for self-learning, you know, really, really nice. And I also believe that the even in regular school, when I was like in Google Meet or Zoom, you need to tie things together. Like whatever you do live in a live session, it needs to tie what they have done before or they're going to do after the live session. It has to have this flow, this progression, so they can see. And live session needs to be engaging, it needs to be active. If I go there to give it just like instructional input, like I did, for example, I was testing with the dictation activity. I transport the dictation for Minecraft, which she liked it and could have been done, but Minecraft actually they can actually see the words. And then I had to ask her, so like, oh, don't take a look, try to use use F1, because if they use F1 they can't see the written word. So I asked her to use F1 so that she could benefit. It's like encourage them to self-testing themselves, to check what they know and they don't know, what they can do and they can't do. It's not for me, it's for themselves. So once you create this culture, once you slowly manage to develop this mindset with them, they slowly going to get into that good competition too. Because first person we need to compete is against ourselves, right? My current self with the self I want to develop it. And then like when you compete with others, like, it has to be healthy, it has to be positive. As someone, I think Gisele said this in the chat when we were like brainstorming challenges about actually what kind of like bad competition. Yeah, in class or anywhere, we don't want bad competition. In our family, we don't want kids, competing. So yeah, that kind of thing. But if we can create in Minecraft natural use of language that they can actually put into practice in a meaningful way, that's the best thing to do. And I'm going to see if Gatinha can actually create a video in English for you guys to see. I still have to learn. I mean, like before I could record videos using Xbox Live, game bar, and would pick up the players in-game voice. We did that years ago, right? But nowadays, I don't know why. Now I need to use OBS, so I need to Vance and Jane to give me lessons in OBS, so I can actually do the recording and ask her for permission to share. So you guys can see, I am truly amazed, like in 5 months, how much with, this interaction and support, how much she developed. It's really amazing. Her father speaks English, and they are like big supporters of the project, and they want to see this like for every kid out there. So yeah, we are planning to actually next year, not next year, but maybe later this year, to launch the full school of Minecraft online for English learners. So
thank you. Tilly, do you have something to say?
No, I'm just reflecting how lovely it would be if I could have the time to do all this with my students, and if my students, if I had students of that age. I mean, I'm teaching students who will be teachers of ICT, and so I kind of have to. They could be teaching at any level. But I've got so much else to cover and a much shorter time this year, so I don't know if we're even going to get to Minecraft. But yeah, lovely. I think it's a really great project. And are you doing a PhD, Rose?
no.
Oh, because I was going to say, this is something that'd be ripe to do, seriously. Then you would get it published and it would get out there, and a lot more people would get access to the insights, because I think it is quite powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for this. And as for working with like preparing teachers, Jane and I, we can help with that because we are going through exactly a research on how to, facilitate, help teachers bring Minecraft like in PD. So we might be able to help there with some, ready-made frameworks and everything to bring to. Because I know this takes a lot of work. Exactly. I've been working on it like nonstop for 7 months, so I know the feeling.
I'm very lucky to have Rose because she helped me with my class of a group of graduate students. They're actually in-service primary school and secondary school teachers, and they've came up. The final project they came up using Rose's framework. It's amazing. So yeah, we have the recordings on my channel if you'd like to go through them.
Yes. And also one project that I want to launch soon, it's a Java server for teachers and a Bedrock server for teachers as well, where you can come and have this ready-made space, structured space to try out lessons with your students, instead of like you going through the whole setuping of it. And my goal is also to have like a weekly meeting for co-creation session with teachers. So it's like we can think together, like what kind of lessons we can create. And then everyone can take that out and bring 1 or 2 students into the server and try that out and see how it goes, So it facilitates, because it's a lot of work. And like for phase 2, it's going to take like really tons of work for me to launch phase 2 with actually piloting with groups and see what it's like with groups to do everything that I have done individually. So it's a challenge, but I'm really up to this challenge. I can't wait, actually.
I think you're saying in this EVO Minecraft MOOC session, we're just following the progression just perfectly. And the last week, which we're just entering, starting tomorrow, is focus. That's where clusters of people, like-minded people, develop projects to go beyond the MOOC, which is, our MOOC ends actually in a week, but the space that you just mentioned, the Java space for teachers, would be a really nice place to go to play around afterwards. And also AZ Craft, of course, which Olive Tree Maha here has been taking us to, and Dakota also. And, so I'm sure that there are people who don't really want to, well, of course, you can always come back to EVO Minecraft MOOC. It doesn't shut down. It never has in the last 7 years. But anyhow, that's what we're going into. We're talking not just about the last week of Minecraft MOOC, but beyond that, how do we coalesce this energy? And you've certainly brought a lot of energy into this, Rose.
Thank you. Yes, and this is my focus project, really. It was like 2 weeks ago when I kind of like thinking of this progression we have in EVO and like what I want to focus, and also the experience I had with Jane, with her graduate students, like what should I focus here, and I want to focus on helping teachers. And I know it's daunting, it's really daunting to start something like this. I had to really like ditch regular school. I got another job to like sustain me financially for part-time. And then the other part-time would be like to dedication of this project. So yeah, I want to like create this school online for the kids who need it, because sometimes in language schools, the main problem is not all kids fit in that kind of class. So I want to have this space for kids who love Minecraft, want to learn English, and come and do it, as an option. And then for teachers to be able to learn in a safe and structured way, so they can also develop their skills in designing lessons for in and out of Minecraft, but in a collaborative way. Yeah, that's sort of, I'll be launching soon. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for today, for being here and sticking with me for 1 hour and a half. Whew, that was a lot. Janie, we can stop the recording, right? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Bye.
guys. Thank you.
Bye. A big wave.
Bye.
Everyone wave. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Yay.